Happy Monday night. Bill Taylor, Ken's 5 Digital Center. Blessings to you, blessings to yours. Hope everything's fantastic. Hope you've been enjoying this phenomenal weather of South Texas. Have you been out early in the morning? Oh my gosh, what a refreshing taste of fall. A nice little preview of what our fall season is holding for us. It's going to warm up again, but not to 100-degree highs. Not that kind of warming trend, but definitely going to get back up to seasonal numbers, both mornings and afternoons. We'll take a look at the highs, we'll take a look at the lows, but let's first take a look at the Gulf of Mexico. Take a look at Tropical Storm Francine. She continues to strengthen and continues to show some very good structure. In other words, what we look at is the outflow and the way that this storm is really coming together and wrapping itself around the center, which was definitely found. Let me find exactly where it's located. It's moving north-northwest at about 7 miles per hour. The storm's about 425 miles south-southwest of Cameron, Louisiana. So that's south of Lake Charles, 425 miles off the coast. So plenty of room for strengthening. And that's exactly what we expect this storm to do. The pressure's come up a little bit in the 7 p.m. advisory. We had it down to 986 at the 4 p.m. 7 p.m. it's back up to 993. So you could see a little bit of disorganization. It hasn't really been tightening. Sometimes with these systems, when you see them getting real compact and you start seeing that eye form and that pressure drop is when you really start seeing some major strengthening. So again, 24-1 north, 96 even west is about 425 miles south-southwest of Cameron. Back in the day, I can remember back in 1992 when I first got in this business, and the first big storm I covered, not in person, but from a studio, was Hurricane Andrew. And in 1992, Hurricane Andrew came late August, and it was obviously the first storm of that hurricane season. So it came late, and when it was out there and we were tracking it, we would back then give you the lats and lons. That was like a really important number because people had hurricane tracking charts at home and they would track the storm. You just don't do that anymore because it's all done by computer for you now. But years ago, in fact, every hurricane season, the station I worked for in Louisiana, then the station I worked for in Alabama, we'd put out tracking charts at the beginning of every hurricane season, all sponsored, and they'd be big fold-out charts. You'd have the whole Atlantic and, everything, lats and lons, all, so what I'm looking for, grids, gridded off, if you will. All right, so moving north-northwest. Now, this is about an average speed of a forward progress, so that gives it plenty of time to continue churning and getting that good ocean current going and that mixing of the warm, deep waters of the Gulf of Mexico and keeping this thing fueled up. And this is why we expect strengthening in the next 24 hours. Let me show you the new forecast. You can see storm watches along the Texas coast turn to hurricane watches in extreme southeast Texas, but most of Louisiana tonight. So here's what we're thinking. Right now, the latest track brings this storm inland east of Lake Charles. And it's going to be near, just in between, I would say, Lake Charles and south central parishes of the state Wednesday afternoon. And you can see it's expected to reach Category 2 status at landfall. So that would be winds of 100, could even be gusts higher. Teresa survived Andrew. Oh, what? You were in Florida. Oh, my gosh. Because not too far from where we're seeing this landfall was Andrew's second landfall in 1992. That was in New Iberia. Tia, maybe. I'm going to go with a slight chance on Wednesday from the storm. Hey, Danny, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. David, math teacher. If I have 5 bottles in one hand and 6 in the other hand, what do I have? Student says a drinking problem. Hello, Grace. Getting any rain? No, unfortunately. Hey, Whitney, thank you very much. I appreciate you. So with this, by the way, you look at this track and you see San Antonio on the far western side. we're in what's called a subsidence area. Subsidence or subsidence is a sinking air motion in the atmosphere. So around that storm center, remember, these cyclones are huge areas of low pressure with major rising air. So where that rising air is, the opposite is occurring on that western side, which will be sinking air. And as a result, this storm will take all of the moisture in the atmosphere with it. And we probably get a lot of sunshine and no chance of rain to really speak of. I'll show you that we're already pretty dry out there. I mean, take a look at this. You can already see just how dry things are in Texas already with this water vapor. You can also see the coverage area of Francine. I mean, a lot of good cloud cover already moving up into Texas, Louisiana. That's going to be the leading edge of the tropical clouds. Those bands will continue to thicken as they move inland and contain quite a bit of rainfall once we start seeing things, once we get into, you know, Tuesday night, Wednesday especially. So yeah, let me show you that rain will be visible on the radar. There's some pretty good storms on the coast beginning Tuesday morning up into Victoria, and then you can see Tuesday night, maybe Columbus or Hallettsville by Wednesday, but really not expecting much. Here's Wednesday, and we see a few showers trying. There's one up near Johnson City Wednesday afternoon. We're just not expecting a whole lot in this area. So 10 to 20% chance Wednesday. Excuse me, will be about as good as it gets. It'll affect St. Charles Parish or Ponchatoula. Ponchatoula? Wait, where are you located? We're in San Antonio. I don't know what, but I'm not sure where St. Charles Parish is. Not much, no. Tony, man, I know, right? No luck on this one. Two more storms, far east Atlantic, I'm showing you right now that are of interest. This is Gordon and Helena, possibly, but high probability, as you can see, medium to high, that in the next 5 to 7 days we've got Gordon or Helena or both. Okay, and early indications. These storms are already starting. These tropical waves really right now, pretty far north. Okay, so they will trend to stay north of the Caribbean when they get started and they get their legs under them this far north already. So just keep that in mind. Gabrielle, I love you too. How you doing? Hey, Pam, are near New Orleans. Okay, so yeah, I think it'll be a New Orleans issue. I don't think Southwest Louisiana will get a lot of bad weather. They'll get some weather. There'll be some pretty good rains, but the western side of the storm center is going to be a lot better than the eastern side. That's for sure. All right, outside in San Antonio tonight, we're out here on the hill. The winds are calm. Temperature's 83. It's been feeling a degree less all day today because the dew point is in the low to mid 50s. So very comfortable. Speaking of low to mid 50s, look at the lows this morning. This was exceptional. New Braunfels got down to 61. We were at 63. Pair of fives at Hondo. Look at Kerrville, 51. Fredericksburg, 50. There had to be one or two isolated 49s out there in the low-lying spots of Gillespie or Kerr, maybe even Kendall County. 55 Rock Springs. Coolest morning since mid-May out there this morning. Now, we won't be as cool tomorrow morning. Let me show you. I'm going to have to update this right quick. Okay. Here's what I'm going with tomorrow morning. So not as chilly, but a very nice morning. In the mid-60s for the city and metro. Some outlying areas like Bandera, 57, Bernie, 58. But 62 Hondo will be nice. I mean, very nice morning for your Tuesday, okay? So keep that in mind as we expect temperatures to be comfy cozy. Comfy cozy. Oh, today's numbers, let me show you from the runway of San Antonio International. 63 was the official low in the city, but 89 the high below average. And we've got about 1.5 inches in the gauge for the month. Look at that old record, 1893, 102 on this September 9th. So tomorrow, September 10th, is the peak of hurricane season's activity. So once we get to the 11th, 12th, 13th, we start on the downward trend of the amount of named storms. Well, with tomorrow being the peak, we've got meteorologist Ryan Shoptaw on a story tomorrow about what has happened thus far. You know, we were expecting a very active season. In fact, the hurricane forecasts were really high on the amount of named storms, hurricanes. Majors were upwards of like 6 to 7 major storms, and we just haven't seen it. So tomorrow, I'm taking a look at what we think is going to occur, what the experts are saying for the rest of the hurricane season. Remember, it goes through the end of November. October might still be active. You know, I think there could be some reasoning within the Saharan air layer, the Saharan dust. I mean, that really dries out the atmosphere. And so if that could have been a factor in getting such a late start. I mean, we've got, you know, a tropical storm and 2 promising waves out there right now. We might have upwards of 3 named storms within, you know, this week. But Wednesday afternoon, we're going to, of course, Francine's going to make landfall, but then those other 2 storms will probably get going, and we'll be watching closely. Cool coffee outside. Yeah, Susan, great idea. You know, a little coffee on the patio. It's going to be a beautiful morning tomorrow. 2023, they were still cleaning up from Delta and Laura. Yeah, in fact, if anybody's familiar with Lake Charles, the famous, what was originally the CM Tower, it's the green building that was in Lake Charles, downtown Lake Charles, probably, I don't know, 40, 50 stories. It's not but it's the tallest building in downtown. Now you've got the casinos. L'Auberge and Golden Nugget have taller hotel stories, but they imploded it on Saturday. They took it down, and it was, you know, a big glass building that stood for years. I mean, I moved to Lake Charles in 1986, and that building was there, and they took it down. It was so severely damaged in those back-to-back hurricanes in 2020, and they just didn't, it just didn't seem feasible or practical to repair. I mean, it was all glass, okay, and the windows were all shattered. I mean, it was just a mess. And so it's been fenced off for the last couple of years, and Saturday they imploded. I mean, they brought it down. There were people on Lake Charles. You could look up the videos. It's incredible. They were out there on their boats watching this, you know, moment in Lake Charles history unfold before them. And yeah, you see that moment right when the fire like goes up, and it's like 3, 2, and then it just implodes from inside and just collapses. It was impressive. All right, 14-day forecast. Again, a 10 to 20% chance a stray shower comes in from the east on Wednesday, but it's highly unlikely. Highs will start to climb. That's something that also happens on the western side of a storm. That sinking air motion heats the temperatures a little bit more, and so our highs will go up above average for this time of year, but we're not going to hit 100. 93 on Sunday. Then we get a better chance of rain Monday of next week. 30%, but that's not a great chance either, right? 20% is the best it gets. Even heading into next week, the weekend of the 21st, and we've got a 20% chance. Seminar, How to Avoid Frauds, is canceled. Tickets are non-refundable. You did see it, Susan? Yeah, you saw it too, right? See? So yeah, the forecast is a quiet one, but we'll be keeping an eye on Francine. We'll have a new advisory coming out for the 10 p.m. newscast, so make sure to join us then. We could have ourselves a Category 1 hurricane. I think tomorrow at the latest, but we might see it tonight at 10 o'clock. Although the pressure went up a little bit, so we might not. We might not. Either way, I hope to see you on Ken's 5 News at 10. God bless you, and have an awesome night and an even better Tuesday.